Hey guys, this is Andrew with Figure Fandom Review, and today we're going to be reviewing the SH Figuarts Guts Berserker Armor Heat of Passion. And man, I was not looking forward to reviewing this figure. It's so awful to say at the beginning, but I have to be honest. After buying the initial Guts, I was so disappointed. I was like, man, how could you? I am a fan of Kentaro Miura. I think he was a phenomenal manga artist. And as many of you know, he passed away. So to see his characters that I love and that, were just... Berserk is a masterpiece of a story and beautiful manga. To see it, reduced to what the initial Guts release was just hurt. And I swore off of it. I was like, I'm not going to buy any more of the Berserk line from Tamshii. Forget it. And I didn't, because the Griffith came out and I was like, nope, not spending that kind of money to be disappointed. And glad I didn't. I heard that figure was an issue. But then they come out with Guts in his Berserker form. I mean, come on. How am I supposed to say no to that? So I ended up picking it up for a couple reasons, which I'll detail later on. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead. We'll, take him off the stand. We'll dive in and we'll take a look. However, before I do want to say a quick thank you to everybody. We've hit a new milestone. I've hit over 100 subscribers, so yay! I know I'm still small. I'm still a small fish here, but I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I appreciate you subscribing to me, and I appreciate just even those who don't and just watch my videos. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to just listen to what I have to say. It means a lot. I appreciate it, and I just want to let you know that it doesn't go unnoticed. And for those of you who just, leave comments and say kind words, thank you. I enjoy interacting with you. I hope that I can help you any way possible. So just go ahead, feel free to dive into the comments. But again, thank you for helping me reach this milestone. Now, enough of the sappy, emotional stuff. Let's get into the review. Alright guys, so jumping into the aesthetics. So when you take your Guts out of the package, this is exactly how he'll come. And if you're like me, one of the first things you will notice is the beautiful sculpt work. So they did a really great job in sculpting the figure. He has a lot of little subtle lines all over that combined with, again, another great detail, the shading really lets the armor kind of pop and look, more detailed. So they did a great job of just, adding this beautiful reddish color shading throughout, and with all the little subtle lines in the sculpt work, it really does make the figure kind of come to life. So really great job with that. So if you look at him from back to front, from head to toe, he is covered all the way down in this shading, and there are lines throughout. So it does really make it look more like, visceral, more like in your face. So very good job to that. Another detail that I really do like, and we'll bring him in for this one, is in the paintwork on the helmet. So if you look at the eyes are two different shades of red. So on his right eye, he has a darker shade of red, and on his left eye, he has a brighter shade of red. And they do use a kind of reflective paint, so in the light, it does look like the eyes are kind of like glowing at you. So really cool effect. And the reason they do this, if you guys know, is because he is missing an eye there. So this is to symbolize the eye that is still, there and he can see out of, being a brighter shine than the darker colored right eye that's missing. So really cool little nod at the lore and the character. I'm glad they added that and didn't, mess up on that part. And yeah, I mean, the figure looks exactly how, Guts should look in this form coming out of the manga. Or anime, because they did animate that in the CG version of the show, but we won't really talk about that animation. Anyways, if you're like me, you know that the SH Figuarts Berserk series has looked great overall. So aesthetics haven't necessarily been the problem. So really what we're going to ask is, how is the articulation, and are there any QC issues? And so for that, let's jump into the next part. Alright guys, now jumping into the articulation, as we do, we will start with the top, working our way down. So for head movement, we do get left and right movement, no problem. So works pretty good. We do get head tilt, so to that side, and to the opposite side. No issues. Now, moving back, he does have really great neck range too, so this helps. You can push his head back with the neck and then tilt up, and you will get really good head movement. So you can look up quite a bit with him. Now, looking down, I'm going to push his neck first so you can see this. If you have his neck pushed forward and his chin over this little chest piece, it will bump into it. So you won't be able to really look down. You won't be able to look down if you do that. All right. So what you have to do if you want to look down with him is make sure the chin is behind that piece and then bend it. And then you'll have, that downward look. Now, if you want to push that even further, you can. And I'm going to do it to this side because I think this eye just looks cooler. And you could do it like this, where you put it to the side there, and then if you're posing him, and let's say you want to do some picture where he just, he's looking from the side or whatever, you can do that, and then you get that kind of a look. Makes him look down even more, which is pretty cool. However, it's just not good on this side because then it's just going to look weird. But yeah, all in all, pretty good head movement, no issues with that. Now, moving on to the shoulders, a lot of people had issues with the shoulders because of the way they looked. They did function well enough, in my opinion. They just looked really weird, and that's because they designed it similar to how, if any of you have Amazing Yamaguchi figures, the way their shoulders are, they're kind of like chunked out and like they dig out the shoulders a bit to give you more butterfly range for articulation. The previous Guts had that, and because it was all flesh there, it just looked weird. It looked like a big gap was, missing in his arms. It's the same arm, only different color. However, they do have this scale piece here, which kind of hides that, so it doesn't look as weird. So it does look more natural this way than it did before. However, you still do get the same benefit in that you get a beautiful ability to cross the arms very well. So he can cross his arms very, very easily, no problems. Look at that. So great butterfly joint, and by the way, there will be gapping. However, we are going to give them a pass on this, and the only reason is because he will be wearing a cape, so you won't see that at all. So unless you decide to pose him without the cape, then that's on you. But in my opinion, they did a great job in just making articulation the forefront in this case, since a cape would hide any of the flaws. So great job to them on that. Now, continuing with his arms, again, I'm not an armorer, so I don't really know the name for this in particular. It just looks like a arm sleeve or whatever. But this scaled sleeve, it is on a hinge, so you can move it away from the arm if you want to articulate it that way, or you could have it just flush to the arm, no problem. So going down the arm, we do get a double jointed elbow. I have heard some people complaining about the range on this. I really don't find any problems with it. I think it's pretty acceptable. Again, that is me and my opinion. However, for me, I think it does the job, and I didn't really run into any poses that it was stopping me from doing. So, again, personal opinion. Now, I am spoiled by Mecha Frieza and his forearm swivel, and unfortunately, I do not have that. However, we do get a bicep swivel, which works very, very well. A little too well, in my opinion. It's a little loose to me, but I haven't run into any problems. It just feels that way. So just be mindful that it could in the future probably start giving out on us. Now, moving down to the major issue that Guts had initially, and if my camera wants to focus at all, there we go. They use a ball peg this time as opposed to a regular peg, a straight peg. So the previous release for Guts had a straight peg, and with the sword in there, it would constantly fall out. Like, it was almost impossible to keep the sword in there without it falling out all the time. Now with this, it still does happen, albeit far less. However, it is still an issue, but they did try to fix that with this ball peg, which does work, most of the time. Now, it is very stiff to articulate this. It's very tight, and I'm not going to complain about that one bit because The sword is big, and honestly, with the weight and everything, I think it's fine. I prefer it this way. That way it's easier to, keep the sword in the poses that I want. So I'm not going to complain about it being that way one bit. Now, moving on to the upper chest cut. So he has his lower waist, and then he has his upper waist chest cut that works very well. It's a little squeaky, but it does work. So you can go forward a fair bit, and you can go back a fair bit. So he does have really good range in that uppercut. He can look to the, or tilt, to the side, so to that side, and he can tilt to this side, no problem. Now, he also can twist at that upper waist. So you could twist him at the upper waist right there and twist him that way. It does sound gross, but I promise you it's not going to break. At least mine hasn't. If yours breaks, then oops, my bad. Good. But for the lower waist articulation, he does get really good lower waist articulation. So he can go to the side. He can go to both sides. Sorry, forgive me. I'm going to try to really push that. So yeah, you can tilt him to the side, and that's using the lower waist. He can crunch down with, let me just use only the lower waist. There we go. So he can crunch down a fair amount, and he can look back a really good amount. So the lower waist articulation for this figure is very good. The overall waist articulation period is very good. So you can move him all around. You can have him tilting and dodging sword slices. Can't talk right now. And whatnot. The only problem that I have with the waist period is that I'm not a fan of the stupid little scales, because they keep on moving all over the place, and I am a sucker for symmetry. And since they end up going all over the place and not lining up anymore, it drives me nuts. And this is just my OCD talking. It has nothing to do with anything with the figure. The figure performs great. It's just my OCD driving me crazy right now, and I'm still trying to fix it, and I'm on camera. Anyways, moving down to the legs. So for the legs, he has really, really great range on his legs. Like, that's his front kick. And this is wild to me because he's a swordsman. Here's the funny thing. I don't expect a swordsman to be able to kick this well. But for Guts, they do that. Yet for Goku or any other Dragon Ball character, they always stiff me on the range, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, he has really, really ridiculous, leg range. He can kick all the way back too, no problems. So he's got great range on his legs. So if for whatever reason you want him to start doing martial arts and drop his sword, he can do that. He has really, really good splits. So he can do the splits pretty decent, no problems. So if you want Guts to just start, throwing hands and feet, don't worry, he can do that for you. Now, he does have a thigh swivel, although when you move it out too far, you do get this crazy gap that happens there in that part of the leg. So just be mindful. It is weird looking, but it will happen. So just a heads up on that. He does have a phenomenal double jointed knee, which is weird because he has a specific accessory to give him an even deeper squat. So you can do some of those animalistic kind of squats he does, where he's all the way down, on his legs, trying to kind of like an animal. He does have an accessory for that, but yet he still has phenomenal range in his legs. So crazy that they even felt the need to add that, because this is already pretty great range. So yeah, look at that, nuts. But yeah, so there's that. And then moving on to the thing I love and kind of don't like about the figure, and we're going to talk about the ankles here. So the ankles give you ridiculous range, which is what I love. So just look at that. It will get ugly though. So yeah. So you do get this crazy gap that happens. So it is hideous. However, you do have the range where, this is ridiculous. He's pointing toes back at his chest. That's nuts. So he has great range there. Now, moving this forward, he has very, very good range, pointing forward too. So he's a ballerina. He has an ankle rocker that works very, very good. He can move his legs however he wants. It's wild. Now, here's for toe articulation. Let's look at this. You know, really great toe articulation, and it doesn't really look half that bad either. It looks pretty good. Only weird thing is he could also go the opposite way. So I don't know what they were thinking, but yeah, if he wants to curl his toes forward, he can do that as well. So a little strange. Now, my issue with the ankles is that the same issue I have with the bicep swivel. Very, very, very loose feeling. Like, it holds up, don't get me wrong, it does work, but it feels like it's gonna give at any moment. Again, that's my main issue, is I don't know how long those ankles are gonna last. So that's the only problem I have with that. Overall, the articulation is a lot better. The figure doesn't drop his sword all the time. It does occasionally. But yeah, I think this is a much better improvement. And I mean, if this is what they came out with first, we wouldn't be feeling the way we do about the Berserk line from Tamshii. So yeah, but it is an improvement, and at least they're trying to fix it. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the accessories. All right, guys, for the accessories, we do get 2 claw hands, followed closely by 2 sword gripping hands. We also get 2 closed fist hands, his left hand cannon. We do get 2, pairs of deep squatting legs. We also do get the helmet for the Skull Knight and matching chest accessory. And we also do get the Beast of Darkness helmet transformation and the matching chest accessory for it. Alright guys, so for faceplates, we do get an angry teeth gritted face for Guts. It does also have the transformation markers on the side of his face for when the Beast of Darkness is taken over. And I just really want to do these separate because they have beautiful nicks and scratches, and there's some shading on it that just looks really, really good. So they did a really great job on the face coloration for these. And for the other faceplate, we do get his stoic faceplate, which is just him, as he normally is, stoic, not smiling, just neutral. And again, beautiful job, some slight shading on the face, a reddish shade to it to kind of bring his cheeks and his face to life, and along with the just the scars and nicks he has from the battles he's been through. Really, really well done, just beautiful faceplates. Alright, next up on the list for accessories, we do have his cape. For those of you who didn't like it, unfortunately, it's the same cape. So we do get the same style of cape that we got from the first Guts, pretty much. I think there's only differences in the coloration of it. It's a little bluer in hue than the other one. That's the only thing I see that's different. But yeah, pretty much the same cape. So yeah, if you wanted something new and you were kind of disappointed by this one, yeah, sorry, it's the same one. And last but certainly not least, we do get his Dragon Slayer sword. So my issue is that it is the exact same sword. Like, I think that for the price that you charge for these figures, you could damage it up, put some nicks on it, I don't know, blood if you want to. I don't know if it doesn't have to have blood, but nicks, scrapes, rust, something on it to make it look weathered and not so perfect. Because by this point, like, he was fighting, crazy monsters and, beings that really he had no business fighting, and he was going toe to toe with them. This sword does get chips and dings and damage on it, so it's just kind of silly that they didn't add that on the sword and kept it this clean looking. Alright guys, well there you have it. SH Figuarts Guts Berserker Armor Heat of Passion. So I was very close to not buying this figure. I was done after the first Guts I bought. I was like, this is trash. I'm not spending any more on this line. Tamshii's crazy if they think I'm gonna keep buying these. And so I skipped out on Griffith, to be fair. And the only 2 reasons I decided to buy this figure was A, it looks really badass. I'm not gonna lie, it looks really badass. So I was like, okay, I kind of have to get it now. And B, as a person who is doing reviews, I kind of felt obligated that, you know, I need to buy it, because if it is bad, I don't want a lot of my, you know, subscribers, you know, buying this figure and wasting their money. You know, I don't want to do that. And if it is good, I do want to let people know, hey, you know what? They did a great job. It's not bad. Which thankfully I can say it's the latter. So for me, I think this is a good figure. I don't think it's great, but I do think it's good. It aesthetically is a 9 out of 10. It looks amazing. He looks exactly how you want him to look. And from just the articulation standpoint, still pretty good, really decent. So why I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, and I'll explain that number. The reason it's a 7 out of 10 is because I'm not too sure of the tolerance of this figure. The joints on the ankles and like the bicep swivel and just what I'm feeling in the hips sometimes, I don't know if that's going to hold up or if this figure is going to start falling down constantly. So I don't want to recommend something as a 8, 9, 10 out of 10, which it definitely wouldn't be a 10 out of 10 regardless. But I don't want to recommend it for anything higher. And then later on down the road, you guys are like, what the hell? Like, you know, Andrew, you said this thing was, you know, was good. Why is it falling down now? Stuff like that. So I kind of want to be honest and say that I don't know how good the tolerances are. But for everything that I'm seeing right now, it's at least a 7 out of 10. I think they have done a great job in trying to improve on the original Guts, which was a complete disaster. And, you know, at least give us a figure that is, you know, a good, in my opinion, starting point for the Berserk line. I think that if you're going to start collecting Berserk, this is where you want to begin and go from here up. I don't think looking back is the answer unless you are a hardcore fan and you don't mind the pain that comes with owning the original Guts and the Griffith. But that being said, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I do videos every week, or at least I try to. Last week was weird because I was on vacation, so yeah, wasn't gonna do any reviews in the Caribbean. But glad to have you guys. I do hear that subscribing is cool and that it's the thing to do, so if you want to do that, you can. But no, seriously, if you find any value in anything that I've have to offer, go ahead, subscribe. I'd love to have you. For all the people who have been commenting, I just want to say thank you for all the love you guys have been giving out. You guys are great. I appreciate the kind words. It does mean a lot. I do mean that. You guys, it does, help me to understand what I'm doing good, and if I'm doing something bad, I do like to know as well. So I'm not afraid of some criticism. Let me know. But I do appreciate every one of you. In fact, we have now hit over 100 subscribers, which is crazy to believe, considering I started this in January. I didn't think I'd even get this far this quickly. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And like we always close and say, I want you guys to please be safe. And as always, guys, keep collecting. Thank you. See you later.